Okay, we're going to leave the rocks and the mountains. We're going to come in here and put in some very distant trees. I'm using a very goobered up, as you can see, it's very old. It's a number 6 natural bristle brush. And I'm just going to come in here and tap in some greens. I need to take out a little bit of the water. You don't want them all the same height, and you need to have the variations in the colors. So again, when you mix your paint, you don't need to mix it like cake batter to where you can't tell the difference anymore. We're going to put these trees back here to create some distance between this jetty and the mountains. I'm going to take out some of that water. If we wanted to put a cabin back here somewhere, we got to have some ground for it to be. Again, I'm just tapping. See how they're kind of going this way? It's because of the way my hand goes. So I need to turn the brush. I need to concentrate and make the trees go lean in the other direction a little bit. Now, sometimes your brush will get a lot of paint around here. Just pull it off on there and then use it. See, I'm trying not to let them all be the same size. I'm going to come back and do another layer to get some highlight on those trees. You can make some bushes, you can make them trees. And again, I'm just tapping. You're not painting every limb, every branch. With the different values in the greens, you're giving it depth. You know those are trees back there, but you don't have to see every limb, every branch, every bush. Okay, so now I think we've got a good showing of some trees and things going on back. I want to come right back here in the middle and maybe put yeah, I kind of like that. And every once in a while, I'm going to come in here and throw in a little highlight like that on some of these trees. There, that really gives it some life, I think. Okay, so we don't have to have all of the shadows and the highlights, but we'll work on some of that. But we're going to come in here like this, right behind the jetty. Come all the way over, and you're just skimming the surface. Now we have a little bit of a interesting thing here in that this jetty also has reflection in the water. So you touch it here and you come down straight. Come down straight. Touch it and come down straight. Make sure you use both sides of your brush where the paint is. It might not look right yet, but it's gonna look pretty good in a minute. Okay, I'm gonna get a little more paint on my brush. Let's see if we've got anything to start with here. We're gonna come over here. Yeah, we got enough to work with for a while. It sort of looks right. I'm gonna rinse my brush. I'm gonna put some more of this in here. Again, I'm using, this is a number 10 natural bristle brush. So I mixed up some more paint. I made it a little darker. So we're getting several shades in there. Trying to get that shape, that cone shape there. Okay, so I think we're looking pretty good there. Now what we can do, I mixed up a little different paint with some of these same colors in it. And so now like this is out here. It's not right here. So if your mountains are here, okay, so this is going to be kind of over here. So we're going to put a little, not light enough. There. So now we have some different colors from reflections in the mountain. Now you have a couple of choices here. I've got a lot of paint on my brush, so you can tap it off on your paper towel. Look at all the colors that are in there, because I don't mix it up too much. I want to mix it on my canvas. Okay, so I'm going to start somewhere in here and go over the reflection of the mountains. The reflections to where it looks like the reflection is underneath the water. Now I'm going to lighten it up and add more white. And I think I'm going to change brushes too. I'm going to come back with a synthetic flat brush and with this paint, but more white. The water, the ripples will be very large. As it gets closer to the jetty, closer to the shoreline, they get smaller because the water's coming in and it's coming out. Okay, so I'm making like Z shapes across. Not up and down, but across. Trying to keep them connected, sort of. Not 100% maybe. And they need to be horizontal. You can't have them coming down because it looks like the water's coming off the edge of your painting. Back here, they're naturally going to be smaller and lighter. And every once in a while, you're going to get a little thing like that. And that's fine because that is like water splashing up. And all of these ripples and water and things going over the reflections is what makes it look like a reflection. This does not look like a reflection. But once you put all of that on top of it, now it does. You want to keep them connected as much as possible, but you have to be loose on the brush in order for it to just kind of flow. So you don't want to be too tight to make it looking pretty good as far as reflections go. Now I want to come along the jetty, and we'll do it on this. We won't do it on that because you're looking at this side of the rock. You're not seeing where the rock is on the other side. But on the jetty, you're seeing this whole front. So I'm going to come along in here and put the water line in the jetty. Very light pressure again. This is where the water comes up to the rocks. So that kind of tells you where the rocks and the jetty. Now, I don't really, it's kind of a harsh line, so I'm going to bring some of it out and make some more waves. Right here on the corner where it would hit first, you're gonna have a lot of action. You'll have some action back in here, but not as much as right in here. This mix is the turquoise deep and white. Okay, I didn't clean my brush. This is one of the few times where I would use white. So I picked up some white on a dirty brush. I'm going to come in here and highlight some of this water action. And what I have found is it's always further out than what you think it is, that action. So like right there, oh, you gotta love that stuff. And here it's gonna come up in the rocks. We're gonna put some splashing in here later once we paint the rocks. See all that? I love that. Don't try to blend that away. In fact, if you can get your brush to do it, if you lay it down just a little bit, you'll get some of that highlight action. And the more layers of color that you put in, the more real your water's going to look. Okay, so that's looking real good. I'm loving everything we've got here. So let's get busy and paint the rocks. Part of the reason that I slopped those rocks on there was so they could tell me where they are. They're hiding in there. So when the rocks need like 3 dimensions, just like we had to have up in here. So I'm going to start right in here and touch and come across. And right here, it's going to come down. This is just a pile of rocks. Okay, so they can go in all directions. I'm looking at the blobs of paint where they're darker, thicker, whatever. You don't want to cover up all your dark. That's where you got to have the negative, the dark, for the light to show. So you're starting to see the rocks show up, right? We're going to come back and do another pass through. We're going to do the same thing over there. Now I want you to notice here, here, and here on my brush, because I don't mix up my paint completely, you're going to see some color that was underneath there. I mixed up the tan into the turquoise, what I had left over from the water. So I mixed those two together, and so here is where that's coming out. So the rocks are not all going to be the same color. They're not going to be the same shape. So now I have on my brush a lighter color, and I got a lot of paint, so I'm going to have to be very careful. Let's come back in and finish up some water. We're going to do some splashes. I've got a natural bristle brush, and I'm going to touch it and flick it. I'm just going to come over here towards the rocks. And it's always higher than what you think it's going to be. And where the water has come in on the rocks here, we're going to flick it up there. some good water splashes going on. We're going to throw a few more out here. So the water comes in like this and splashes up. This one here should be much bigger than that. And then, because it splashed up so high, it's going to kind of pool in some of these rocks. It's going to pool like in here and come down over the rock. Back in here. So you have to think about, where's the water hitting? It could even get all the way up into here and come down. And you touch and you just drag it down like you did up in here. You just drag it down and let it come down into the water. Pull back in here and then pull it back down into the water. And then it's going to splash back up from where it hit the water. It's a never-ending feeding and splashing and feeding and splashing. This here, you need some very white to accentuate. There. Oh, I love that. Yeah, I love that. And same thing where it's coming over here. It's the top part is going to be a little wider, and then you have to get, again, very light pressure, and then splash it back up. You can play with this forever. You can also come in here with this brush and do a few wider. And because it's a natural bristle brush, you're not going to get that sharp line like you did with the fine line with the synthetic flat, but you're going to get some interesting water action. I'm following the same kind of lines as was there. The paint is lighter, it's whiter. The brush gives it more action. Remember, as I said, as it came into that jetty, there'd be a lot of action in the water. And you still see all of the reflection in there, but you see that water like waving in. So you might want to come over here and do a little bit of that as it comes into this pile of rocks. You could splash some up onto the rock. So that looks pretty good. And if you're going to do that, then you need some action coming into that. Okay, so I think we're looking pretty good. We're kind of a dead spot right in here, it looks like. When I look in the camera, I see kind of a dead spot in here. So let's throw a little bit of action in here. Doesn't have to be much. That looks so much better. I'm gonna throw in some water lines here. Very thin, very light pressure, all the way back to where the trees and the jetty meet. Okay, all the way back to there. Then we're going to come all the way over here. And we're put this water line all the way across, kind of making a little bit of reflection from those trees, kind of cutting that off a little bit. And again, very light pressure. And then you're going to look at it and see, okay, so where is it not joining with the action of the water? Because you need that. It needs to marry up with that. There, we're just going to pull in some little bitty things. They have to be much smaller because they're so far away from where we are here. Okay, so I might just bring that same brush and maybe define some of this water action a little more. As it comes closer to the viewer, it would definitely be more defined. As anything comes closer to the viewer, it gets warmer, it gets brighter, and it has more detail. So that's all we're adding in here is, and more detail, not necessarily warmer, but definitely more detail and brighter. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with most everything in there. If you enjoyed this series, which I hope you did, please check out my website, paintingwithacrylics101.com. I will put a link in the description for you to get a free bundle of painting information that you can print out, keep with your art supplies, and refer to often. I have similar things that I have learned in other classes, and I refer to them all the time. So they're very, very helpful. Also on that website is a free painting class on how to learn how to paint daisies. So where you're going to learn to paint the petals, the stems, impressionistic background, the curlicues, the whole schmear. So I hope you're going to go on there and sign up for that painting. So have a great day. See you later.